So again, namaste, welcome to class, comfortable seat. Let's bring the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. Let the eyes drop down as the head bends and the neck gets long at the back. A little compression at the front of the neck, a little stimulation to the thyroid, parathyroid. And from this position of submission for a moment, you've seen animals do this position of submission, submitting to yourself, to your higher self, letting the best of you manage your practice today. So being kind and generous and curious and all the qualities you could think of in a very, very masterful teacher. Let that be you today. And then let your head gently just come back to a more neutral spot so you can relax your head. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. A special prayer of thanksgiving for Baba Hari Das. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga, Ayurveda, and with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So letting your intention for the practice, your highest self, bring those thoughts completely into your mind for a moment. Just ponder what that means to you. And then as we chant one Om together, let them just slip right down into your heart space and we'll bring them back at the end of practice. So for now, joining me please in one resounding Om. Om. Letting your eyes flutter open as you inhale. And just drop your hands to your knees for a moment. Lengthen your elbows. So elbows are not locked, but they're long, and your hands are on your knees and your arms are straight. And just notice your shoulders. Just checking in with your shoulder girdle for a moment. Good. And then let's flip the palms for a moment, just flipping the palms. Let them be open in a receiving mode. Good. And then flip the palms again and let's start making our big circles. So just rotating the whole of the torso around the heads of the femurs on either side. So just rotating the torso around the hip girdle and other direction. One more big circle. Good. And then bring your arms out to the side. And then let's bring the arms up to shoulder height. Put your palms facing the floor initially so that you're pronated. Good. And then I want you to think about supinating. So open your palms up, but from the shoulder area. So down, which puts us just in abduction, or externally rotated. So just notice a difference, but from the shoulder, not just from the elbow where you can pronate and supinate, but from the shoulder. Couple more. Good. And then facing down, just relax the arms again and just notice the space between the shoulder blades where the rhomboids are. That nice solid space. And then bringing up the left arm, just bring it straight up for a moment. Good. Bend the elbow and take the elbow right to the ceiling. Let your left hand just walk down your back. You can place the palm fully on your back. Good. And then let's bring the right arm out to the side, still facing down, so no rotation yet. And then externally rotate it and bring it up. And then bend it and just try to take back your left one just a little bit, Take it back. Good. And then release the left arm up toward the ceiling. And then bring both arms down in front of you for a moment. Notice the rotation there. And then release the arms all the way down. Good. And then let's bring up. Here is where we externally rotate the right arm. Bend the elbow. Palm fully on your back as much as you can, elbow headed up. Try to keep your neck not involved in this process. Good. And then left arm out facing the floor. Flip the palm, bring it up, and just touch the elbow. Take it back about 1 centimeter, not a lot, just a little bit. Good. And then release the right arm up toward the ceiling. Keep the hands where they keep the hand where it is, and then slowly bring it down to shoulder height. And notice again the rhomboids in the back. Good. And then just open the arms and relax them. Great. We're going to move into those rhomboids right here from our table pose. So coming over into table. Chatushpadasana, 4-legged pose. Okay, so we have our 4 legs of the table. Great. And then just droop down into your shoulders for a moment. Just let your let the rhomboids disappear down between your scapula, and then press up and get the space between your scapula, between your shoulder blades, as broad as it can be. And the heads of the humerus are firmly in the, I wish it were a complete socket, but in the glenoid fossa touching. Good. And then again, but don't just drop it. Let go slowly and press back. And then I want you to press way up. So find your cat. Curl the tailbone in. Take the chin in toward the chest. Get really round and just breathe for a moment. Look back behind your legs and hide your feet for just a moment. Completely hide your feet. And then come back in through a neutral spine with your lumbar curve and your cervical curve. So looking at the floor. Press the floor away. Good. And then without letting that go down at all, curl the tailbone toward the back of the head toward the tailbone. So not diving in the rhomboids, keeping them strong, pressing the floor away. And then coming back into a neutral spine. So just find your spine in neutral. Good. So today we're going to really try to work on keeping that space right here between the scapula, the space in between, to keep it nice and strong. Because the scapula, and I'll show you at the end of class, it receives the head of the humerus. And if it's not out there in its place and you dive in, you are working to ruin or weaken your rotator cuff. Okay, so come on back up right into your table. And then let's take back the left foot, curl the toes under, press through the leg. And then lift the leg. Lift it just even to the floor for a minute, and then point your toe. So just point the toe so the whole leg is flexed. Plantar flexion. Look at the floor. And then keeping your leg in, begin to lower toward the floor. And then press back up. Big hands and fingers. Really big hands and fingers. So keeping your spine just where it is. So as the whole body goes, the back leg goes up, the body stays in a long line. Elbows are getting closer to the floor, and then push up. Use the index finger, the ball of the index finger. Really, one more time. Press in to the ball of the index finger as you lower. Keep your elbows in, don't let them wing out to the side. And come up, flex the foot, dorsal flexion, and then release. Good. Okay. Other side. So step back with your right foot, curl the toes under. Nice and active leg. And then lift the leg just parallel to the floor, making a long line with your spine. Point the toe, and then look at the floor. And then again, 3 nice slow times. We're going to come down. The leg will go up as the spine tilts and the leg tilts. Good. Keep the space between the shoulders strong. Use the ball of the index finger. I know that sounds silly, but it will help. And pushing up. Good. Flex the foot and then release the leg. Good. And now let's do our cat pose again. Arching cat. Press in the space between the rhomboids. Get it nice and big as it can be. Tuck the chin into the chest. Press into the hands. And then come back through neutral. And then go in the other direction, but keep the rhomboids active. And back into neutral. And then let's come up on our knees and give our wrist a break. Okay? So just coming up on the knees, making circles, dig into that big brown bear with your fingers. Good. And then let's take a moment right here. I'm going to show you my back today, just because we want to work on that space there. So you're going to draw up your right leg. Draw up your right leg. It's externally rotated. Your hips are facing that way. Bring your arms out to the side. And then think about what is happening with the rhomboids. So as you reach, really reach, but yet pull your shoulder blades in and protract, retract, depress. Depress them a little bit toward the floor. Good. And then flip the palms. So just noticing how we have our arms that we use in our warrior pose and the space there. And then just the elbows, just the forearms, pronating and supinating. And then release. Okay. And I'm going to do the other one to the back, so I do it as well. Okay. So now left foot up, arms up. Look down and see how that relationship happens with your torso. Good. And then lots of space here. So no crunching in. See if I crunch in, what happens? And no overextending so that I don't have any support. I'm pulling the heads of the humerus into the shoulder blades and spacing, putting space between the shoulder blades. And then let's play for a few times with supinating and pronating. You can remember supinating because you're putting a little bowl of soup with your hands, half Anjali, and pronating. Supinating, pronating. Good. And then just release the arms and notice how your shoulders are feeling. Just see how the shoulders are doing. Okay. Good. And then let's sit back for a moment on the heels. Good. And then bring the arms out to the side. And then from here, we're going to do, for just a moment, we're going to do Gomukasan arms, just the arms. Okay, so you're going to externally rotate your left arm. So you just opened it, but from the shoulder, and you're going to bring that arm up. You're going to internally rotate. So you're taking the back of the hand toward the floor, toward me and toward the floor, and take it behind. Walk it up as much as it can. And then just playing with those arms and the shoulders. And notice the space between the shoulder blades, the rhomboids. Hopefully you're sitting back on your toes, so you're giving your toes a little stimulation here. I'm just, toes are curled under and I'm sitting on my heels. You can always use a block, but it's really good for toes. And then we're going to release, inhale, arms up. Good. Exhale, arms down. And then let's come back again. So external rotation now on the right arm. Bring it up. Internal rotation on the other arm. Bring it down. Bend the elbows and just see what you have. Hold on to your shirt or whatever you need to, but notice that the rhomboids, the space between the shoulder blades, is broad. It hasn't reduced itself in size. And then release and both arms up. And let's come up on our knees again, hands down into the heart. Good. And then release your arms. Great. And now let's again externally rotate now the right leg. Good. And then just take the leg out and flex the foot. Leg out, flex the foot. Keep yourself upright. Upright, upright. Raise the arms, nice upright space. Good. So notice that your leg is in front of you now. Now go ahead and take your right foot down toward the floor. And now you can walk the leg back and have it be in line with you, because now there's no rotation. There is just abduction. So just noticing that difference. If here you were to try to externally rotate, you would take your torso all the way with you. There's nowhere else for it to go, okay? So that's why when we're standing in warrior, it's in front with it up. We bring it back. So there's a difference between external rotation and where the hips are going to be placed. Arms stay up. Good. And then externally rotate. I mean, out of rotation, sorry. Just toes on the floor. And then let's lean over and do a short kneeling version of Artichondrosan. Good. So hand is on the floor. Leg is an extension of your spine. So your leg wouldn't be up here. If it's going to be wherever it needs to be. Press into the floor. So one long line of energy. The foot is flexed. Good. Notice the space between the shoulder blades. Great. Bend your elbow a little and push back up. And hands to the heart. Good. And then let's release. Come back into your kneeling position. And then we're going to take the leg out, just taking it out. So it's externally rotated. Toes are up toward the ceiling. And I'm facing you right now. So my leg is out in front. Arms up, all the way up. Good, nice and tall. Shoulder blades are not up, they're down and receiving the heads of the humerus. Good. And then unrotate, so take the toes toward the floor and then scoot the leg back. So it's just an abduction. You could play for a moment what would happen if you externally rotated from there, how far your pelvic basket would have to go. Good. Okay, nice tall spine. And then we're just going to slowly do our kneeling Artichondrosan on the other side, so that the crown of the head through the foot, flexed foot, left foot is flexed, arm up overhead, pressing in and noticing the space between the rhomboids, between. Good. And then bend your elbow, went up. Great. Relax. And then let's bring that knee in. Arms up overhead. Hands into the heart. Sit back again one more time on your toes. Give that little bit of a toe stimulation. And then let's come for one more moment back into our table pose. Take one more cat, arching the spine. Take 3 breaths there with just that one pose. 3 full breaths. Push the floor away, shoulders are broad. And then come slowly with mindfulness through, and 3 breaths in the other direction. Curl the back of the head toward the tailbone, tailbone toward the back of the head. and then finding neutral. And we're going to come up here. So just be careful. I'm just going to press up, walk my feet toward the center of my mat and my hands and come up. Good. So finding yourself in an upright position. Great. And then let's walk ourselves out to the side. Good. Wiggle your hips a little, just seeing where that articulation is, seeing where that joint is. And then the same thing. Right now we're abducted. And I want you just to, well, I'm going to do it with my right leg first. I want to lift my heel and go into external rotation and just see what happens with my pelvis and then come back. So I'm just on my heel and external rotation and coming back. One more time. External rotation and coming back. Good. Just relax for a sec before we do the other side. So be solid on your heel. You can come off of the how far apart you are because it's going to show you the same thing. So external rotation, foot is flexed, dorsal flexion. Notice where your hips go and just abduction, external rotation and not. One more time, external rotation and not. Good, okay, and just being in this spot for a moment. And right here at the groin, we're going to hinge over at the hip. You can place your hands on a block or the floor or whatever is comfortable for you, but gazing at the floor. Good, pull in your belly, pelvic floor is lifted. Great, and then putting your right hand on the block and your left, or the floor, and your left hand on your low back, somewhere along your low back. Slowly, keeping your hips even, lift your toes so you can really keep your legs balanced, hinging and opening through the thoracic spine. So just little by little, share it with each of the vertebrae in the thoracic. And coming back one more time. The hips are even, and we're just having some thoracic movement. Okay, and then switch hands. You can always start with your right shoulder opening first. You can take it from that way into the thoracic, or you can take it from your very bottom thoracic and begin to open towards your shoulder. But you don't want to take it in the lumbar. We're just leaving that stable for now. One more. Press into the hand on the block or the floor. Good. And then release your hands to the block. And then let's heel, toe, heel, and come up for a moment. Just rest your hands on your knees. You may need to readjust so that you have this goddess pose, okay? Pelvic floor is lifted, belly is lifted, and you're not sinking into your shoulders or arms. Keep them strong. Just relax the hands. And then arms into Kali. Good. Just breathe. A few more breaths. And then begin to straighten the legs a little. Release your arms. And then let's come out of rotation into abduction and then just adduct the legs, bring them together, add them together. Great. And let's go apart one more time. So putting into practice what we were doing with our shoulders. So arms are out. Good. Externally rotate the right leg. Right leg externally rotating. Good. And so my belly button was front and center, and now it's a little bit over to the right side. Bend the knee. So coming through our warrior two. Notice your shoulders. So externally, let's say supinate, so that you already had the rotation at the shoulder. So supinate the back hand, the left hand. Good, and bring it upright. Bend the elbow, grab an arrow, lift it up, take it over and string the arrow, pull it back, let it go. Good. And then open up again. Okay. Supinate, so palm facing up, bring it up, reach back, grab an arrow, bring it up, take it over, pull it back, and release. Bring the head back to neutral and then open the arm. Good. One more. Supinate, arm coming up, reach down. Notice that the rhomboids are strong right between the scapula. Pull up the arrow, take it over, let your gaze follow. Pull it back, release it, and open the arm, open the gaze. Release the arms, release the leg, come back into abduction. Now you got front and center again. And we're gonna externally rotate the left leg. Good. Great. And notice what happened, how much your belly button went from front and center. Stack the knee over the ankle, broaden the groin. Arms are shoulder height. Good, and the same thing. So supinating the right hand, coming up, reach back, grab an arrow, lift it up, take your gaze and everything, string the arrow, pull it back, and release. Bring your gaze back as you open the arm. Supinate the hand, bring it up, grab an arrow, bring it up. Take your gaze as you string the bow, pull it back, let it go. Good. Gaze and arm open. One more. Supinate, reach up, grab the arrow, draw it up, put it in the bow, bring it back, release. Gaze and arm back. Release the arm, straighten the leg, unrotate, and then come back into neutral. Good, so just finding yourself in a Tadasana where you can relax. So pelvic floor, relax. Belly, relax. Breath, relax. A standing Shavasana. Good. And then let's come on down again. Coming down into a big squat. So notice your legs, your knees and your feet are in the same direction. You can sit on a block if you'd like. You're welcome to put a block underneath you. It's comfy. I think I'll do that today. Good. So you're in your squat. Great. Hands are in namaste. And you're going to slowly open out to the right side. Just open, arms and shoulders opening. And then come back. And then open over to the left side. And come back. Good. So as we were working on the shoulders, I'm just going to show the bind. Since we've spent so much time working on the shoulder girdles today, okay? So I'm in my squat. Hands are in namaskar. I'm going to open out to the left side. Opening to the left. And then I've got my right arm. I'm going to internally rotate my right arm and internally rotate my left arm. And perhaps I can touch my fingers, but they're both an internal rotation, not like Gomukasan arms at all. And then let's release. And then opening, twisting in the thoracic over to the right side. Let's put both of our thumbs in hitchhiking position. Take them toward the front and down and even toward the back. So getting in as much external rotation as you can. Internal rotation. And then release and hands into Namaskar. Good. And then let's find our way down to the floor. Extend the legs out. Good. And this is a place, if you have really tight hamstrings, you're welcome to put a block underneath your knees for just a moment. Good. So sitting up on top of your sit bones, not leaning back or forward for now, just sitting up on top of the sit bones. Heels are not together. Big toe knuckles are touching. And then making as much of a right angle with your body, even with your knees bent, so you have a little zag down there. Good. And let the shoulders come up. You have all the support of the floor, let the shoulders come up and then depress, take them down. Open the arms up, internally rotate and take the arms down. Good. Relax. And then slowly just begin to walk yourself out toward your legs and thighs. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. This is a westward stretch, but we're working primarily from our sit bones to the crown of the head. And our legs, with the hamstrings out of the equation, are just supporting us. Let the breath be your guide. Just see if you can get on an exhale a little bit closer. No pressure to go far. Some of you can plant your face on your knees. Great. Just being there for a couple more breaths. Paschimottanasana. And then walk your hands back. Keep your head and spine where they are. Walk your hands back close to your hips. Spread your fingers. Glue your elbows close to your body. And then begin to press into the hands to come up. So you're not using pulling into the low back muscles that you just extended. Good. You're all the way up. And then we're going to go down to the floor. So if you're not inverting today, so if you have high blood pressure, uncontrolled blood pressure, if you have glaucoma, if you're on the first few days of your menstrual cycle, and if you simply don't want to think about an inversion today, great. I want you just to keep your hips on the floor and rest your legs on a wall. Just like that, okay? If you are inverting, I'd like for you to do the counter pose of a supported bridge. And the way that I would like for you to do your Paschimottanasana, I'd like for you to do it with the block on the low side and your feet extended. So your block is on your low side and your feet are extended. So all of the flexion that we had at the hip is now no longer there. And you have a back bend, shoulders are on the floor. Try not to look at me, look at the ceiling so that you don't get any blocked carotid artery. And for those of you who are resting at the wall, great. And the rest of us, after you've done a little bit of your extension, you're welcome to take your legs up into Viparit Karani Mudra for a few breaths, just resting in Viparit Karani Mudra. So legs are upright. You can bend your knees slightly. Good. And then bend your knees. Place your feet on the floor. lift off the block, put your bottom on the floor, and just ask yourself, do I need one more pose before Shavasana? Maybe you need to stretch out and do banana on either side, just leaning to either side like a banana. Maybe you need to do another forward bend, another back bend, maybe an easy twist, nothing in your lumbar. Whatever you might like to do before you find yourself in Shavasana. Okay, so take your time. So as you extend into your Shavasana, don't feel trapped by your mat as long as the floor is warm, or at least not freezing cold. Let your hands and your feet even extend off your mat. Think about being a starfish. Good. And then letting go. Just letting go. Babaji says this is the hardest pose of all. Just releasing. Soften your jaw. Breath is totally uncontrolled. Soft and shallow, just enough to sustain you, belly or chest. Slowly and gently, bringing your awareness into the breath. Notice it, find it. and let it begin to deepen just a little bit. No big breaths, just deepening a little. Bringing the senses online, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and the sense of touch on the skin, your body on the mat, your fingers, your toes. And then considering how you want to make your way over to one side in embryo. You can stretch out, you can shrink in, take your time. And then when you're there, curling up, all safe and secure. Just remembering to leave behind anything that no longer serves us in embryo pose. Just leave it behind. Come up out of embryo, letting yourself spiral up to a comfortable seat, any seat you'd like, and then just sitting for a moment and noticing the effects of the practice. Feeling it in your body, in your breath, and in your mind. For our pranayama this morning, we're going to do a little heating practice initially with Ujjayi pranayama, but it's a chest breath, and we're going to put our hands around our rib cage just so that we can see that we're actually bringing it into our chest. Babaji teaches this practice with us making a sound on the inhale and no sound on the exhale. If you are more comfortable making a sound on the exhale, go for it. It's your practice. I will do it the way that Babaji taught. So I'm going to have it in my chest, and I'm going to make a sound as the breath comes in, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Pause at the top, and then exhale. I'll exhale with no sound, and you'll notice my ribs are coming down. It's called recoiling. Everything's coming back into place as the breath leaves the body. And then again. Pausing at the top, and then exhaling the breath out slowly, softly, gently. Following me. Belly stays stable the whole time. We're not taking a belly breath. It's not moving. The diaphragm is spreading to the side as it contracts. Two more. And then just relaxing, releasing the practice. falling into your natural, more shallow breath and just noticing body, breath, mind. We're going to follow that with a cooling breath called Sitkari, which means hissing breath. So we're going to take the tip of the tongue, place it where the teeth meet the upper palate, put a big smile on our mouth with our teeth open, and draw the breath into the belly region. Pause, and then exhale it out. So we're going to inhale through the smile. We'll close our mouth and then exhale out the nose. Okay, so put your hands on your belly so you're sure it's going there, anywhere in the whole circumference of your belly. Exhale the breath out. Place the tongue, big smile. Pause and then exhale out, belly to spine, into the belly. Don't let it climb into the chest. Try to keep the diaphragm pushing the organs down rather than contracting out to the side. Rest the tongue in the bottom of the mouth, exhaling out the nose. Notice the coolness that comes over the upper palate. Two more. Then releasing the practice, letting your eyes close and just noticing body, breath, mind. Letting your eyes flutter open. I'm going to suggest a mudra for our meditation today. If you need anything, make as little movement as possible. Your body is prepared now for meditation. So as little movement as possible. The mudra is Apana Mudra. So we take the index finger, tuck it into the root of the thumb, index finger to the root of the thumb, wrap the thumb around the index finger, and then we bring the thumb to the middle and ring finger. So only the little pinky is extended, and we rest with the arms relatively straight, but don't lock, just arms relatively straight, resting the backs of the hands on the knees. So thumb is at the base of the little finger. If you are on your menstrual cycle, don't do it. Just you tasted it and now drop it and just rest your hands gently in your lap, because it increases the flow and you really don't want that. If you need to increase the flow, it's a great mudra for you. It's a mudra for constipation. It's a mudra for helping our heart be stronger. So nice tall spine. Arms are relaxed, elbows are relaxed. Taking a gaze toward the floor or letting the eyes close completely. Breath is soft and shallow, just enough to sustain you. Our object of concentration, if you have one that you use daily, please use that. Otherwise, bringing ourselves into our highest self. Just remembering bringing ourselves in to the highest self that we said at the very beginning. You as your own teacher. Om Guru Namaha. Om Guru Namaha. Recognizing your highest self as your best, most wonderful teacher. Om Guru Namaha. Om Guru Namaha. Repeating it silently as you hold the mudra, or just relaxing your arms completely and keeping your own mantra. Om Guru Namaha. Om. Bringing our meditation to a close, releasing the mantra and the mudra, and then just letting yourself sit quietly for just a moment longer, letting everything integrate. Asana, pranayama, dharana, concentration, meditation, dhyan. Bringing our hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. Any merit that we may have earned this morning in our diligent practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. Remembering your intention, remembering your highest self, just pondering that thought for just a moment. You being your very best teacher at the highest level of your intellect, your buddhi. And then letting these thoughts slip out of our mind symbolically down into our heart space, and from our heart space out into the palms of our hands, and then lifting it up and just letting it go out into the universe. Bringing the hands back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. Okay, I'm headed to you for a little chat if we would like, although my right leg has gone to sleep. I'm not sure I can make it. It's always, you know, people will say, how do I not let my leg go to sleep? Well, it does go to sleep. I'm just not too keen on having it wake up. Okay. Now let me get this so you can chat and I can talk back with you. So here we go. Okay, and remove the spotlight and let me get gallery view. And now I have you. Great. Welcome, Ashok. I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to have you. Hi, Jean and Manipa, Mary. Nice to have you, Jolanta. Hi, Brian. Welcome. Welcome. Nice to have you. Amy, Vikram, nice to have you. Hi, Wendy. Good morning. Hi, Shrivavani. How are you?
Hi, Ginger.
Nice to have you
Show me
all.
the mudra again. I mean, in the close view.
Uh-huh.
Can you show me the mudra we did this morning?
Yes, yes. Uh-huh. So we're just tucking our index finger into the base of the thumb. This is Apana Mudra. Index finger into the base of the thumb and just wrap the thumb over it briefly. And then hold on to your middle and ring finger. So the only finger that's extended is your little pinky finger. And that's the mudra of Ap. That's the mudra of water, right? So it's kind of as if it were dripping down and creating that downward flow of movement, right? That downward Apana, cleansing us out. So you wouldn't do it if you had diarrhea or a heavy menstrual flow, but you would do it if you need to have a bowel movement or you need some grounding, right? Apana is really to ground us and keep us stable. And it was a mudra I needed today. Yeah.
And Ginger, I need to attend my meeting this morning, which starts at 8.
Good. So you will be ready for it.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Shrivani. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. So any questions? How are your shoulders? How is everyone, how are you doing with your shoulders? We did a lot of work on the rhomboids and also all of the scapula muscles, which are the, subscapularis and the rotator cuff muscles really. Everybody feel good with internal rotation and external rotation? And was anybody able to do more, have more ability when you really thought about it being one internally rotated, one externally rotated for Gomukasan, and then both being internally rotated for the bind in like just like knowing in your mind? Does that help you? It helps me to understand why some people can do it and why some people can't, because they have a certain amount of internal or external rotation at the shoulder girdle. And then I don't worry that, okay, well, I don't have that amount of internal or external rotation, but maybe I hadn't tried to rotate in either direction. I was just trying to kind of abduct and do it, without thinking about it. And that makes it really challenging for me personally. So I don't know if you guys too, when you think about it, like, oh, if I'm going to do that, it's internal rotation. Oh, this is external rotation. They're both headed in the completely different direction from the head of the humerus. And that makes that easier, right? Did anyone find it easier, or is just as hard as always? Good, Jean, you found it easier when you knew it. Good, good. Yeah, any question? How about when you were just being stable, which is what we call eccentric contraction, when we were on the floor and you were kneeling in your table pose and taking the arm, taking the leg back and then just going down onto your elbows. So you were working your triceps and your biceps, but you were also really working the rhomboids to keep them stable. That was, I know that can be challenging. Let's see. There's a thumb touch in the mudra. No, the thumb doesn't touch the pinky finger's out. There's no thumb pinky relationship. It's the index finger into the base of the thumb, and you wrap the thumb around the index finger, and then the thumb touches the middle and ring finger. Thumb touches the middle ring, and the pinky is all by itself. It's just a little lonely pinky there.
Thank you.
Yeah. The pinky's the only one. That's the finger for water. That's the water finger. And so I think, kind of drips down off that finger. Just a little dripping of all the downward flow that we might want. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Amy, for clarifying. Yeah. So I know that pose on the floor, like lowering and coming back up, it's like making you do chaturanga at the wall. It requires that stability in the shoulder girdle, and that felt okay. Everybody was good with that.
I felt it was challenging, and it made me focus on the fact that I needed to really focus.
Good.
To stabilize myself, and it worked.
Because the minute you start to sink in there, you just there's just a collapse that happens when the rhomboids are really engaged. Exactly. And since we were low and just had you go down and whatever you could go down, hopefully, I really wanted to stabilize that eccentric contraction. Yeah.
You think you could demonstrate that again?
Yeah.
Thank you. My arms were a little confused.
So here, and then extending the leg back, just back. And if you guys can go back to speaker view instead of gallery, if you just want to see it. So here, headed back, they're not going to touch, but they're headed back. And then it's really using. So I'm just keeping that Tadasana with my leg and spine and put it away. So to keep the stability in the shoulders for that to happen. Was that good, Amy? Yeah. Anything else while I'm here?
Thank you. I'll have to practice, but thank you.
Yeah. It's the same thing as doing plank at the wall. Like when we're here, and the rhomboids are stable. And we've done this before in class where we're here and we've stabilized ourselves. And then we're just going. I have a chimney that I'm gonna, but so we're just going down and back. And we're keeping the Tadasana from head to feet. We're keeping it and going down and back so that and the elbows are going down, right? So the same thing on the floor, the elbows are just going back, not out to the side winging ever, just straight down. When I show it to you from this direction, I'll do the other leg. So here I am, and you shouldn't be able to see much of my leg here. I should be like in one Tadasana line. But you can see my arms. They're not doing anything like that. They are. And my shoulder is stable. Yeah?
Yes, thank you. My arms, have you seen Russian push-ups before?
Seen what?
Russian push-ups?
No.
Okay, it's a similar movement, and so it's kind of confused in my muscle memory. So I have to retrain.
You'll have to show me one day in class what are Russian push-ups. You'll have to put them in your practice and let me see them. Jolanta, how's your low back? I worried about you.
Thank you so much. It's much better. Thank you. I'm sorry. I meant to send you email. I think I did like 2 sets of 10 minutes. The relaxing on the, and it was, thank you. I wish I knew that years ago. Thank you.
Amen, sister. I wish I had known it 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
I know. Yes. Since I have you, can I ask with Ujjayi breath, is there, I mean, I don't know, like explanation, but reasoning for making the sound as you're breathing in?
Because it's a heating breath, I think Babaji just had it not be as heating if you breathe just out your nose with nothing, right? He even had us when we're doing it, just if it was too heating for you, just breathe out the left nostril. Like you would inhale. So you just breathe out the left nostril, which is more cooling yet to keep it as a more balanced practice. But when we're doing it in asana, you know, and it's fine to do an asana Ujjayi. Babaji never prescribed it. But when I asked him about it, he said that Ujjayi is the practice that's good for walking, standing, seated, and lying down. That's a practice that says in the scriptures you can do any place, anytime, anywhere. So that's why he thinks it was incorporated into asana, because it keeps the mind more focused, right? When you're having a breath. But that's mostly when you're by yourself. Like doing it with a room full of people, I don't think it's got the same purpose, you know. Like the purpose is to so that I can keep my mind focused on what I'm doing in the moment. And so when you have a whole room full of Darth Vaders, it kind of, you know, it's like, okay. So I can see where it was put in asana practice for an individual, but I think like carrying it to the nth degree, it's like, woo. But of course, if you're practicing Mysore style, everybody's in there doing their own thing anyway. So no judging. I think that's a great practice for folks. I'm not saying don't do anything, but Babaji just didn't. He taught Ujjayi as a form for looking for beginning pratyahara, right? For starting to withdraw the senses. And so not as stimulating with doing it in both ways. Yeah, both the inhale and the exhale is more stimulating. Sylvia, nice to see you back in class. Yeah. So any questions about anything at all today? I'm getting back into my rhythm. So, and I've gotten the first couple of days that I was back, I didn't even want to do my asana practice. And now I'm back into my rhythm, and my ankle is feeling better. And I don't know if you noticed, but I could actually put my foot on the floor now for the first time since that happened, which is really nice to have the foot back on the floor. Yeah, so, and it feels good to be back into my rhythm and be with you guys in the mornings. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, everyone have a fabulous Tuesday. It was really great hanging out with you. And Amy and Wendy, I'll see you guys hopefully Thursday morning and Thursday night because we have class. Yeah, they're in the new YTT 300. It's great having folks there and here too, because then we really get to talk about things. Yeah. Yeah. Ashok, it's so nice to have you back in class. I'm really glad to see you. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful time with Donna and Jen. I know you must have had a wonderful time with Donna and Jen. They're both fabulous. And I so appreciate them and all the work they did. So if I ever need a sub, I've got 2 fabulous ones, and that I know too. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Sending you much love and have a great one. Bye.